Hey, it's Michael Saul, but everybody calls me Tiny, and this video is the bears still aren't ready to quit. This is stock market analysis for the week of July 31st, 2017. If you would like to receive intra-week updates from me, go to www.attackthemarkets.com. Put in your first name and best email address, hit the sign me up button, then go to the email you used to sign up and look for an email from me. There's a link in there that you have to click in order to confirm that you actually want to receive information from me. If you don't click that link, you're not going to get intra-week updates. This week, well, this past week, the intra-week update talked about Jim Rogers. So Jim Rogers was on a Business Insider with Henry Blodgett, I believe, and he talked about a crash coming that is going to be the biggest in his lifetime. And since he's older than me, well, it's going to be the biggest in my lifetime as well. So do I agree or disagree with him? Well, I've been saying that we'd do a pullback, and we had some small ones, but I was thinking we were going to get a deeper correction. And earlier this summer, I was thinking we were going to give up the whole rally since the election. I don't think that's going to be the case right now, but I still think we could get a pullback that could go down to at least that 200-day moving average. Now, Rogers talked about a big crash coming, and I liked his... Now, of course, look, he sensationalizes so he can get on TV. I like Jim Rogers, and I'm not against him. I know he's done more in his life with trading and managing money and everything else than most people in this business ever. Okay, probably most of them, probably a lot of them combined. Maybe not most of them, but a lot of them combined. And I just don't really find any value since he keeps repeating the same things. That's why I moved my family to Asia, and I'm looking for depressed countries, and not countries that are at all-time highs, countries that have already pulled back. I mean, it's basically the same stuff every time he gets on. I'm buying this, but, I'm not saying you should, or whatever he said. And it's just like, all right, well, that's how strong you are in your opinion. It doesn't. But again, I don't mean any disrespect. I know he's just trying to cover his butt, and not get any, feel bad, I guess, about people losing money following him or whatever. I just don't, know why at all you would go on TV if you're not going to be strong in your conviction. And this is from the guy, me, who sits on the fence most of the time, and I'm proud of it, right? I mean, I look at the charts. I say, okay, yeah, this looks like it's extended. This looks like it's in a solid uptrend. So I'm not looking to short, but I am looking to trail stops, especially if you're long for a while. And it's the same thing this week. Anyway, and also with Rogers, obviously he's calling for a crash, like I said, to get on TV. I don't know how you can pinpoint that a crash is coming this year or early next year or whatever. I think he said late this year or next year. Okay, I mean, great. And if it doesn't happen, there'll be an excuse why it didn't happen, etc. Okay. What I do like, what he said, and what I agree with, is that something that you would never think, or people would never think could go broke, is going to go broke. All right, like Lehman Brothers did whenever it was, 9 years ago, whatever at this point, right? Bear Stearns, like something's going to go broke, and it's going to start a snowball effect. And in my opinion, that is the way that a decent-sized pullback can occur. I don't want to call a crash because I don't understand the theory behind calling crashes. I don't get how you could sit there and go, oh, we're going to crash that. Well, based on what? And the market has been climbing up since President Trump was elected. He has the lowest... boy, I can't even think of the word. This is great, but he has the lowest approval rating. There it is, lowest approval rating, and less than half the country approves of what he's doing, and he's causing chaos, and he can't get the Republicans on his side, and blah 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 blah, and yet the market still continues to rise. Okay, so could Trump do something that could spook the market? Absolutely. But so far, hasn't happened. All right, and when the bears come out and they're all waiting now for the market to pull back so they could blame President Trump, not the fact that it's been up for 8 years. I mean, that's nothing to blame there, right? And that we are due a pullback because the market moves in a cyclical manner and reverts to the mean. Not because of that, but it's because of President Trump. It's ridiculous. All right, and I do believe if it's not this year, and I still think there's a shot that we do get a pullback this year, but I do think during his presidency we are going to get a nasty type of correction. Do I think it's a crash? I have no idea. Do I think it's a new bear market? I don't know. Okay, I don't have enough evidence to point to that yet, but there's probably going to be a pullback. All right, so anyway, the bears, the reason that the title of this video is the bears are basically, paraphrasing now my own title, is the bears are keeping the market alive because every time, and I do a lot of reading, I've been reading all weekend, and they just come out and go, this is the start, new highs are the start of it just doesn't make any sense. We're hitting new highs and people are calling for, okay, no, that's it, and then the Fed didn't move, so, which was last week, okay, so that's a problem. And Thursday, yeah, great, we were down, and the bulls look at it and go, hey, you know what? This is a spot to get in because I'm not in already, or this is a spot to add to it because I'm in and I want to be in more. So that's what's keeping us alive. Okay, if you really want to, look at, and sentiment, yeah, is bullish, so that's favoring, quote unquote, favoring a pullback. But I mean, if you really want to see it, when the bears start throwing in the towel and say, you know what, screw it, we're never going down again, that's when you have the best chance of seeing the pullback. But right now, again, the story remains the same for me. We are rocking and rolling here. We are continuing to move higher. Trail stops because we are extended, but I don't see a sell signal. That's the S&P. The Dow is at new all-time highs. And again, let's go back to the Jim Rogers deal again. When he says the biggest crash in our time, does that mean percentage-wise? But point-wise, that's absolutely probable. I mean, a 5% pullback in the Dow is what, 1,100 points? I mean, that's a big move. But yet, it's not. It's only 5%. Right? So that's not even official bear market. I believe most people won't even officially call it a correction until it's 10%. A bear market, if it's 20%, until it's 20%. So think about that. 2,200 points would be considered a correction. So yeah, and that's if it starts pulling back from here, right? What if it goes higher and then pulls back? It could be even more. So yeah, a point pullback on the Dow or actually any of the indices, absolutely we could see the biggest in his lifetime. Percentage? Yeah, that remains to be seen. So here's the Dow hitting the highs. Here's the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq popped up and then reversed here, held an inside day there. By the way, back to the SPY real quick. I still think 250 is probable. Nice round number. I think it's probable to hit. The Russell. So the Russell peaked out of its channel but came back down inside it. So that's not really a clean break. It tried to get away, but it came back in. Here the mid caps, same deal. Pushed up and then came back in. Here's the semiconductors. All right, so the semiconductors are, what are we doing? There we go. So we can move more of a triangle here. There we go. Okay, so semiconductors, they're looking to expand out of here. Don't mind that little triangle to the left. Ooh, look at Clat Tanker. Boy, nice pop-up and this ugly candle. Look at this candle on Friday. Nasty. Looks like it wants to test the 200-day moving average. Here's NVIDIA at the 20 EMA. Here's Intel. Pushed up to the 200-day and then turned. Here's ADI consolidating here. Right, so again, more of a consolidation here. So the banks have been acting okay. They pulled back. They got a little bit of a bump last week, but then they pulled right back to where they were before they got the little bump. So can the banks move higher? You can watch it. Here's Bank of America. Here's Citigroup, JP Morgan, Bank of New York on the pullback from highs there. Northern Trust sitting on the 200-day moving average. That's underperforming. Here's Zions. How about the Biotechs? Talked about the Biotechs. What are they doing? Okay, so they popped up. They started to pull back. Again, relative speaking, they're still weaker, but short-term relative, they're trying to get moving. See this pop up here to 75 on Labu. And they came down. This has to recover real quick, or this could be a short-term top pull back to this base down here at 55. All right, let's look at Sangamo. All right, so still pulling back after it popped up there. How about like this Immunogen? Looks like that's trying to move. Last week we talked about this Impacts Laboratory. It's not technically biotech, but this one nice push up here. Broke 20, but then closed back down. Still have a target into the 22s of this. See if it can get there. Oil. Yeah, so talked about July 4th being a seasonal high. Again, it's not enough to just time it, but it's good to have background. This was July 3rd. We pulled back, and now we are above that. So watch the 200-day moving average, but still lower lows and so far lower highs here to watch. Here's gold trying to make a move. GDX, like my friend Mike Swanson says, get over 24 on GDX on the miners, and then we can start talking. Otherwise, nobody gets involved. And then bonds, it's just not really doing much. I mean, the no rate move kind of helped bonds deaden up even more, but I mean, not really going anywhere here. So, again, let's look at some of the glamour stocks real quick. Amazon, talk about Bezos being the richest man for a little bit, and then Friday, you can see the spinning top there. There's Apple. There's Alphabet. I mean, they all look sloppy here. Sloppy's the best word to use for these. All right, Netflix, nice pop-up, and it's consolidating. And Facebook had a nice push, 175, and then the reversal. Let's see if it can consolidate here. So again, are we extended? Yes. Are we due a pullback? Sure. Right? Mean reverting, whatever it is. But there's no sell signal here. So, if you're long, continue to trail stops, but otherwise, I do not see a sell signal here. Questions, comments, would you like me to go over a certain stock? Drop me a line at tiny@attackthemarkets.com. Join the email list for intra-week updates. Otherwise, I will talk to you in next week's video. Have a great trading week.